Howdy, everybody watching this post. I hope you're all right. Hope you're having a good day. I have just finished recording a video, which is why that's up there, because I recorded the video and then hoovered the floor, so I had to put it up there. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing all right. Tomorrow's video, I think, is going to be a very good one. It's quite a long one, but I would highly recommend, if the topic is something that you guys are obviously interested in, that you stick around and watch the whole thing for, just to get the most value out of it, because I think it's a very good video. If you're in need of any of my services whatsoever, obviously usual spiel, they'll be down in the description box below. If you're interested in any personalized tarot readings, Katie's Etsy will be down below. Katie's YouTube is also down below, but she hasn't posted any content in a while. What else? What's the usual? If you're interested in the Subliminal app and getting it for a 15% discount if you're on Apple, that's also down below. And as I keep promising, that Android will be soon. I just need to actually have a look at it. I keep forgetting to check the message to see how it all works. So that one's on me. But I think that's everything. Can't think of anything. I've got like a whole bunch of collab requests to send out today, so that should be interesting. But yeah, with that out of the way, I don't think there's anything else. So with that out of the way, let's get into the questions. Satyam says, hey, howdy, Satyam. Eva Cotton says, hello, howdy. Beatrice says, hey, howdy. Sorry, I just like struggled to breathe for a second then. Satyam says, if I affirm as though it already happened, will it work? Yes, that is basically what you want to be doing, either as if it's already happened or as if it's happening. Carolina says, hey, I just finished my personal training course, but I don't have any experience in the area, but all job applications says you need experience. How to manifest a job and feeling good enough for it? Okay, so if you finish the course, does that not class as the experience that you need? Or is it like course plus a job? But either way, it doesn't really matter. So how you would like manifest it would be claiming to yourself that you are already in that experience. So I'm already I don't know, I'm assuming personal trainer, since that's what you said, but I'm already like, I am a personal trainer. And if you had like a specific gym in mind, you could say that gym, but if not, you could say like, or however you do your personal training, some people do it like outdoors. You could say like, I am so grateful to be a hired personal trainer, or I'm so grateful that X gym has hired me as their personal trainer, or I'm so glad to make X amount of money as a personal trainer. And then in terms of like feeling good enough for it, that would just be improving your self-worth. So I'm more than worthy to be a renowned personal trainer. I'm more than worthy to earn X amount of money as a personal trainer. I'm more than worthy and experienced that to be a personal trainer, so things along those lines. And you'll just repeat those things to yourself over and over. Because the reason why you don't feel good enough now would obviously, I'm assuming, be because you've seen that you need experience and you don't have some. So at the moment, you're using the 3D validation to sort of create that mindset for yourself. So you want to flip that on its head and instead start telling yourself that actually, no, this is the case. I am already like an amazing personal trainer. I'm more than worthy to be a personal trainer, and just tell yourself those kind of things. If we could all like this stream as well, that would really help, because it gets it pushed out to like more people, because the algorithm is based pretty much on likes, watch time, and comment. So if we could do that, that would really help me out. Bitch Tits Dick Biscuit says, hey, says there he is. Howdy, here I am. I hope you're doing all good. Tanya says, hey, great to hear you live. Thank you very much for showing up to this live. I do one every Tuesday. The timing is very dependent. I mean, I literally just a second ago finished recording tomorrow's video, which is going to be really good. So I definitely recommend you guys watch that when it comes out. And then hoovered the floor, and then I did the live. Sometimes if I have like a call, I'll end up being on later. But it's somewhere in between sort of 11 to 12:30 is when I start the stream every Tuesday. But I'm glad to have you here, Tanya. Satyam says, hey, I have a question. Suppose my brother and I outside, and I wanted him to bring me, is outside, and I want him to bring me KGFC. What would I affirm? I just affirm something like, I'm grateful to have received I'm assuming you meant KFC and you didn't mean KGFC. I'm just going to say KFC because I don't know what KGFC is. I'm so grateful to have received KFC from my brother, or my brother has brought me KFC home, or I'm so grateful to be eating KFC right now. Something of those kind of natures. And then Satyam also says, if today I wanted to make two girls fall in love with me, what would I affirm? Sort of similar sort of thing, I suppose. It's just like, I'm so grateful to have two girls fall in love with me. I'm so grateful to have the attention from so many women or girls, like whatever term you want to use. It's so easy and effortless for people to fall in love with me. Just things of that nature, just things that imply that it's already done. You know, you want to assume either that it's happened or happening. That's a very important thing. Obviously, it's best to go in the I am pretense, because everything comes through you. So it's always good to go I am, or I have, or I be, or I do. And yeah, those kind of work. Carolina said, obviously, and also stepping into that state of being someone that's worthy of having multiple people like in love with them, because you can't sort of sit. Well, I suppose you can, but the results will be very varying if you were to sit there and say like, "Oh, I'm worthy of, like I have all of this," and then you sort of at the same time don't feel like you're good enough for it, and you sit there and constantly think, "But why would they? Because I'm not good enough." So try to align those things. Carolina says, yes, thank you. That's exactly it. Because I seen them looking for someone with experience, I started overthinking. Thank you. You're very welcome. Hopefully that helps. I suppose next stream, let me know if you've kind of felt a bit of a shift internally. Satyam says, yes, KFC. Beatrice says, I try not to focus. I tried to focus in the end with SP, but sometimes I can't help to get kind of angry because of how things happen. How can I leave things in the past? A good way to deal with things as they come up, like from the past, is to understand why they're coming up. So if you're like, I can't leave this specific thing that he said behind, find out why. Often, things in the past hurt so bad because we do associate with them to be true. For example, if I was like, I'm quite like a slim build. So if someone was to say to me, "Oh, Matthew, you're actually like quite overweight," I wouldn't associate with it at all because I'm very slim. You know, I don't see it on myself. However, if someone was to say to me, "Oh, Matt, you're quite skinny," then at that I would might obviously I don't let it get to me anymore. But like in the past, I would have got quite like, oh, I don't want to be called skinny, you know. But like if someone was to say, "Oh, you're overweight," I'd be like, "What?" So I think often we react and feel things to be true and hurt by things a lot more when we associate with them as if they're truth. So if something has happened, whether it's something he said or done in the past, it will more than likely hurt so much because it is reflecting something internally that you hold quite sort of hold onto as truth. So yeah, I would advise looking into every time those things come out. Okay, why is this hurting me so bad? Why can't I let this go? Oh, because this thing that he said just reminded me of the way that I don't know I feel about myself. And it's like, okay, so maybe it's not that you can't let go of the fact that he did it or they did it. It's the fact that you do still feel that to an extent. So when you think of it, it still gets to you, and then you can work on building up from there. Carolina says, what is your best advice when closest friend doesn't support your manifestation? Is it because they just don't get what's actually going on and how life works, or they are more so reflecting something? How to know the difference when it's reflection or if it's just an opinion coming from their own limitations? So often it will be reflection. Everything that you experience is a reflection of yourself. Often those kinds of things will come out in the form of you not believing it fully yourself. So I've had this in the past where I was like, I'm in and ahhing when I first got into the law of attraction. And I talked to my friends, and like one of them was like kind of like, oh, you know, it seems a bit strange. And then another one was like, oh yeah, it seems all well and good. And then when I asked why the other one said it seems a bit strange, she's like, I don't know, it just feels like it's strange, isn't it? And I was like, I kind of just took that on to be that's because I still wasn't fully invested in it. So I was having that show up for me. In all honesty, if a person is kind of making it known to you that they're not interested in this stuff, they don't believe in it, they think it's stupid, you're best off just not talking to them in any regards anyway about it. You might as well go to a manifestation community, like obviously my Discord, or you can join like Kim Velez's Facebook, or I don't know if there's any like Sammy's Mermaid Gang. I don't really know any of the others. Um, and then like speak to like-minded people, or find someone in a comment section and work with them directly to like become manifesting buddies, because it would be better in that regards. But everything is basically a reflection, so I would advise anything that you're seeing externally is often, well, not often, it is a reflection of internally, so then you kind of know where you need to still work on stuff. Theory, apologies if I said that wrong. I'd like to know, affirming without feeling or believing it, will it work? So yes, it does. I personally do find that I have more success with the feeling it to be true. I feel like if I step into that like as if it really is true, I find it to be a lot more successful for me. But I have also had success of just sort of banging off affirmations just one after the other. So they will work because you're still thinking of that reality in order for you to say it. You're still stepping into that state of awareness by saying it. I just think that things have more potency when you actually feel into them to be true. Oh, my light just flickered. But yes, it will still work. Summer Rain says, morning, Matt. Howdy, howdy. Dante says, you motivated me to go back to the gym after a long break. I started to train even though I didn't feel like doing it. It will get easier each day. Thank you. You're very welcome. I'm glad to be a motivation to people. And yes, it does obviously get easier. I'm in that situation today where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go, but I got to go. Because I like this, my schedule at the moment is just like a pain in the ass, because I have obviously got to do a whole bunch of stuff during the day for the business. I have just like, so I'm working on a second company as well with my friends, as I've mentioned. So like I got a lot of work to do during the day. The kids come home at 3, and then but the gym between 3 and about 8 o'clock is packed where I am because it's like one of the only gyms in this little village that I live. So everyone that goes to the gym pretty much just goes to this one. So I can't really go when the kids are home because A, I got obviously try and sort out the kids and make sure the kids are all good and yada yada yada. But B, it's also so busy and then it closes at 9. So I have to either try and fit it in the day, but then I lose out on a whole bunch of like work time, or I go just before it closes because that's the only time it's empty, or I go to this tiny gym that's filled with everyone from the village at its most busiest times. So it's like I'm really like struggling at the moment to find like a good balance, but I feel like I'm gonna have to probably go straight after this stream to go to the gym because I don't want to get into the habit of not going. But I'm glad to motivate you. Long story short. I got to find where I was because it skipped. Matt Schwartz says, "Hi Matthew, I'm at work. Wish you a good stream." Thank you very much. I'm happy that you showed up to wish us a good stream. Have a good day at work. Dev Priya says, "Hello, howdy." Jar says, "I don't really have negative assumptions about specific people. I expect them to treat me well, but they still turn out to be the opposite. Why does this happen?" Well, there are more things than just like assumptions about specific person. For example, your self-worth obviously have a factor. Having over association with things that are negative. For example, you say here, but they still turn out to be the opposite. Why does this happen? How are you investing in this opposite version? Are you sitting there going like, why are you treating me like this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? And you're associating with that to be your truth. Because often that'll keep repeating. If you keep over associating with something that you're experiencing, it will end up recreating because you're impressing your subconscious mind with this is my experience. And yeah, those are like sort of the main reasons. Carolina says, "Should I pay much attention to my friend saying he doesn't agree with my manifestation because I genuinely didn't get triggered at what she said since I was telling her about the positive movement?" No, if it's something that isn't in line with your, and you say down below, "It just annoyed me since I felt I couldn't talk to her about it, but maybe I low-key have an assumption that she doesn't believe in it because I feel really good about my manifestation since I see only good movement." So whether or not she does or doesn't believe in it, obviously, whether that come from your assumption or something else, I'm inclined to believe this is your assumption because I believe everything created, we're the creators of our own realities. Whether it was a BP horn. Whether or not she does or doesn't, and whether it's not it's your assumption or it isn't, you're best off not speaking to her about it if she's only going to bring you down or put like negatives. Like, yes, you say it didn't trigger you, which is good. You definitely don't want to get triggered. But if it's just not going to benefit you, having someone that's very neutral is not as fun or as beneficial as having someone that really hypes you up. So if it's something that if you're just like whatever, like she's not all that interested, then there's not really much point telling her because it's not going to benefit you really. I'm gonna cough, so I'm gonna mute one second. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Aditi says, "How should we behave without SP in real life? And does our behave with them in the 3D? How should we behave with our SP in real life? And does our behave with them in the 3D?" I'm just going to assume you're asking how do you behave with them in real life. So it depends on the situation, really. Not everyone will react the same way to every kind of situation. Not everyone will behave the same way. I genuinely believe that if you're in like, day to day with your specific person, the way to behave is just kind of the way that you would be as best you can with your reality. So for example, if your SP is like a friend and you're still manifesting a friend, this lighting makes me look really ill. If you're manifesting a friend and you're not obviously together, for example, you can't just start going in and trying to like make out with them and stuff because it's gonna cause some problems. But you wouldn't sort of keep sitting there going, "Oh, hi pal, hi friend," like you would just kind of take it as you would without pushing into the 3D. So if it is a friend, for example, you would sit there, you'd be like good with them, but you wouldn't see them as a friend up here. You would see them as your person. You would repeat to yourself that they're your person. You would see them as such. But then when it comes to the actual 3D version of themselves, you wouldn't overstep to a point where it creates any problems for you. Because a lot of the work that you need to be doing is obviously all mental. Everything is like in your head. So you said like not being pushy or doormat or how. So just act in a way that's according to how you want to feel. If you feel like you're being treated like a doormat, then take a step back. If you feel like you're being pushy, maybe take a step back. Everything is all up here. So if you feel like you're being a doormat, take a step back and start working on changing that assumption of them. You've asked this question a few times, not that exact one, but about like your person in person, how to change their behavior and stuff. Everything that you do to make a change should be all up here. You should not be focusing on their behavior. Obviously, if their behavior is genuinely causing you harm or makes you feel like shit, then yes, obviously take a step back. But like if they're just not acting the way that you want to yet, or they're just like a little bit naggy in certain ways, or there's just little things that they don't do that you want them to do, they don't require your focus. You need to just be focusing on this end result. And it's the same way for your behavior. How you act is not all that important as long as you're up here. But if you're deliberately acting in a certain way, for example, if you're deliberately acting pushy because they're not acting the way that you want them to be, then you're going to only be associating with a version of them that doesn't act the way that you be. In reality, where you were with them, you would be quite calm, you'd be quite relaxed, you'd be quite chill. You'd have obviously your self-respect and stuff. So if they start treating you like shit, you'd work on it, and like you take them steps back. But you would just be quite calm and relaxed and just go with the flow more often than not. It's the same thing here. As long as all up here is doing the right thing, that's all that matters. Oh, it skips. I hate YouTube. Why'd you do this to me? Rain says, can you explain why some say if you stop affirming your manifestation, stop, but then on the other hand, if you think of negative thoughts, they manifest into your world? Makes no sense to me. So I don't know who's saying if you stop affirming your manifestation stops. I don't think that's true whatsoever. I think what will happen is if you stop affirming positive, but your thoughts still continue negative, then yes, you're not going to get the reality that you want because you get what you are claiming yourself to be. So if you're living in this mental world where everything is shit and you're not even affirming to try and change that, then yes, you're only going to experience that negative stuff. But if you're like quite neutral, quite outcome independent, and you don't really think about it all that much and you've stopped affirming, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get it. I do recommend that you continue to affirm and persist until you get it, just so that you can pretty much guarantee it. But you don't just, it's not like, oh, I've stopped affirming, I'm never going to get it now. Like you don't have to continuously affirm forever. But I do recommend you affirm at least until you get it, just to ensure that you do. But then on the other hand, if you think of negative thoughts, they will manifest into your world. It makes no sense to me. They'll only manifest into your world if you're assigning meaning to them. You can have thoughts without giving them power. You can have thoughts without giving them meaning. You can have thoughts without assigning them to be true to you. All of those things are basically the same thing. They will only manifest into your world if you are giving them that power. So if you have a negative thought about, let's just say, a specific person being with a third party, and you start really panicking, spiraling, worrying that it's going to happen, all of this negative stuff, you are going to create that. Just the same as if you have a thought about you being with your person and you start really investing in it and really feeling into it and like assuming it to be true, you're going to create that as well, because affirmations are just thoughts. So if you're affirming or thinking about your manifestation being here, you will receive it. If you're affirming or thinking the negative, you won't receive it, and you will often receive the opposite. I don't know who's saying that why you stop affirming your manifestation stops. It only will stop if you're continuing to think and affirm negative stuff on top of it. If you were to just be neutral, then probably not. But again, like I say, I recommend that you persist until it hardens into fact, as it were. There's a lot of comments today, actually. This is a big turnout considering it's a Tuesday. Carolina says, it just annoyed me. Oh, I already answered that one. Jordan Strang says, hey, Matt, I'm just about to head off to uni for the day. I hope the stream goes well. I'll definitely watch post-stream. Howdy, Jordan. Thank you very much for showing up to support last minute. I hope you have a good time at uni. Rohan says, can I manifest unexpected good results even after submitting the answer copy online exam? If yes, by which technique? So yes, you can. The technique is entirely up to you. It depends on where you are sort of find it most effective. So if you like visualization, visualize. If you like scripting, script. If you like affirming, affirm. Just quickly, the reason why my videos are so strange is because I constantly fuck up when I'm talking like I do on these streams. So I have to keep fucking cutting them. So if you ever wondered why there's odd cuts here and there, it's because of that. It's because I can't bloody talk. But yeah, so the technique that you use is entirely up to you based on what you find best. But if there's a visualization, you could visualize yourself receiving the not signed, what's the word that I'm looking at, like marked sheet, and having the exam results and having the amount that you want. If it's an affirmation, you could affirm something like, I'm so grateful to have received. You can either have a specific exam result, or you could say, I'm so happy to have passed my exam. If it's scripting, you could just script about, when you open the exam result, or you could just script saying, I'm so grateful to have received this result. And that's all essentially you do. If you were to get the result that you want, what would it be? You would probably be looking at the exam result saying number, whatever it is that you have, or like letter, because we do like ABC here. I don't know what you might do where you are. And you would that's what you want. You want to open it and see this like past paper. So you see that in your affirmation by saying that you received it, or you see it in your visualization by actually seeing it, or you script it. But the actual technique itself is entirely up to you. Carolina says, thank you. Last question. What do you think in regards to manifestation? My SP asked me to come over the other night. We spent all day together like old times, no intimacy. I know he wouldn't even try because I wouldn't do anything without commitment. But do I just persist in the end and continue to hang out and talk without talking about what's happening and if he's seeing others? Or do I say something because I don't feel used or anything because I know no one compares to me and everything is working out? But should I continue to hang out and ignore the rest? Or do I set ultimates? I don't know. I assume by ultimates you mean boundaries. I've never really referred to it as ultimates. Oh. So in your situation, you would just act like I said to the to Aditi. You would just kind of act chill. You'd act relaxed. You'd go with the flow to a point where it doesn't go against what you want. So if he's like, "Oh, let's get into it," and you're like, "Oh, I don't do that until we're in a relationship," and he's like, "Oh, let's do it. Why? I don't want a relationship or whatever." In those kind of instances, obviously, yes, you would want to stick to your boundaries and take that step back because I've said I'll always say that self-love trumps everything. So if you're being put in positions where you don't feel like you're becoming a priority either to yourself or to the person, then take that step back and kind of do all the mental work. But while you're meeting, you can still meet him and see him as your person. You can still meet and affirm about them being your person. It's perfectly fine to. Just don't do anything or think anything or allow anything to happen that is out of what you would dominantly allow yourself to receive in your current state, for example. Just because you don't obviously want to be putting yourself aside for someone else, because then that's just basically saying that this person means more to you than you do. But as for like your behavior while you're with them, just continue to act like however you want, but make sure that you're perceiving everything to be in a relationship, or you're telling yourself that you're in this relationship. Kiati says, hello, I'm feeling stuck as I manifested my SP back, and on the meanwhile, my parents want to talk to him regarding our future, and I don't want to talk about my 3D. Okay, so anything that is in line with your end result, you obviously want to focus on that. So those things themselves, you would just look past. Yes, you might be in a situation where you have to do some kind of 3D decision. But talking about it to get them off your back might not be such a bad idea, because if, for example, if you say once, look, things aren't the best right now, let's save meeting him for a while, and then they go, all right, cool, and they back off, that's probably better than them constantly saying, well, when can we meet him? When can we meet him? When can we meet him? And then you're like, obviously, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Because then you'll be kind of quite repetitively being put in a situation where you have to reconsider the fact that you're not with him. So that might be a decision that you might have to make at some point in the future. However, as for now, until like they really put that pressure on you, try to look past what they're saying and just continue to persist in the assumption that your specific person is with you right now, and try to take off some of that importance of the specific person as best you can, and just relax as best you can. Satyam says, hey bro, is it possible to receive flowers and love letter from a girl, because we boys have a lot of beliefs that we receive our flowers on our funeral? Yeah, I mean, it's a belief in itself, isn't it? So you can change that belief by telling yourself that it's a different story. Anything that you're experiencing is all based on your assumptions that you may have got from places like YouTube, or for example of people saying, oh, men don't receive flowers or whatever. That is obviously an assumption that you would have gained from them, but it doesn't mean that you can't make it happen by changing your thoughts. Aditi says, we just need our SPs to understand us. How Matt just tried his best to understand my badly mistyped question. You're a genius. Thank you. I kind of used to it at this point. We've done a lot of live streams now. I don't know how many live streams. I think like maybe 30, I guess. So I kind of getting used to how people are typing in and kind of figuring it out. But yeah, the SPs will understand you one day. You will get your specific person, and on that day, you're going to come back here and be like, it finally happened, or he's going to treat you the way that you want him to treat you. And so it finally happened, and then we're all going to rejoice. Oh, stop skipping YouTube. Kiati says, my family members want me to talk to my SP, who I'm affirming back, about commitment and marriage, and I'm a little worried as how can I talk to him when we are in no contact in the current 3D? Can I consider it as birds before land? My family members want me to talk my SP about commitment. If you want to see that as birds before land, if that makes you feel like it's birds before land, then view it as birds before land. In terms of like when it comes to signs and birds before land and everything, I do recommend that you just, probably because he's doing a live today, he's live right now. The Discord group are going like talking. Where was I? Oh yeah, when it comes to like birds before land and signs and everything, your best bet is to just look past it, like, as best you can. Like, signs and that are good for fuel. They're good for like, oh yay, this is on its way, this is great and everything. But if you focus on the sign in the middle and the birds before land too much, then you're still just associating with the idea that it's not here yet, because in your reality, you'd have the experience, you wouldn't have the sign. So it's a good thing to enjoy them as they come, but I wouldn't really like get overly invested with them. You should still just look past what your family is saying and say, I'm in this relationship with my specific person. I'm with them right now, that kind of stuff, because it benefit you more. Aditi says, Satyam, hey, stop making that assumption. I like to give my boyfriend tons of roses every now and then. Of course, just think that you deserve it and you will surely get it in your 3D, even by your mum. Oh, yeah, that's also another factor as well. It doesn't necessarily have to come from a specific person. I didn't even consider that. PZ Princess says, hi, Matt. I focus on the feeling of it being done or even how I hi, Matt. I focus on the feeling of it being done or even how I think it would feel. But when I wonder how waking up in a completely new story that I scripted would feel, I just get anxious. Okay, so sorry, that sentence is a little bit difficult. That's why I have to like take a second to try and figure this one out. I focused on the feeling of it being done or how I think it would feel. But when I wonder how waking up in a completely new story that I scripted would feel, I just get anxious. So I think in this kind of situation, the best thing for yourself to do is ask yourself, why do you get anxious? What is it that you're getting anxious about? Is it like anxious that it's there? Is it anxious that it's not worked? What is it? That would be like a good place to start. I saw something the other day. I can't remember who it was. I wrote it down. So I was actually going to do a short about it and obviously give them credit because it's not my content. But they said it was like insistence is resistance. And I thought that was like a really good I thought it was like a really good like little like statement to sort of say, you know, when you really insist on it happening, when you're like, this must happen by this date, I must wake up to this new reality, I must be doing XYZ. That insistence is sort of begging for it to happen, and that's what's creating the resistance. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you're like kind of in that position where you're expecting it, why hasn't it happened in the morning? Why have I not woken up in this new reality? Am I going to wake up in this new reality? When am I going to? All those kind of things. Then you're kind of creating that resistance for yourself, which you're noticing in the way of anxiety. So what I would recommend is figure out where the anxiety is coming from. But other than that, just relax. Do the techniques from a state of joy and like happiness, but then relax. Don't like need the result, because when you're in need of the result, you're also in lack of having it. So try to like relax. If we could stop the comments for now, because I've got to go head off in a minute and go do more worky bits, that would be really appreciated. I skipped again. I don't know why it does it. It just decides to randomly jump to the bottom of the comments and I have to go back to where I was. Satyam says, Aditi, sorry, my bad. Carolina says, yes, I get you, because he's never said anything about not wanting anything. I know he does. He keeps coming to me and I feel the love from him. So I'm truly living in the end and knowing it into being. Glad you cleared that up for me. I'm going to continue to talk to him and hang out knowing it's leading me to my end result. Thanks, Matt. You're very welcome. And that's probably definitely the best thing. Definitely, as an oxymoron, that's definitely the best thing for you to do. Just relax and go with the flow. Roger Ramsey says, hey bro, been dating a girl. She was all good at start and then suddenly she changed and she said she's not ready. She thinks I want this relationship more than her. She's stressing me out. So in your situation, what I would recommend you do is just take that sort of like step back. Don't be too invested in what she's saying, what she's doing. Just relax, focus on the end result, focus on improving that sense of self, your self-concept and everything, so that she quite literally would just like beg to have you in her life as her partner, and continue from there. Anything that she says that isn't in alignment, don't invest into. Don't worry about it. Don't like think that it's the end. Don't start to chase. Don't do any of that. Just relax. Dwell in the end result of having your desired reality, and improve that self-concept so that when she does get like this, you think it's funny because she's lucky to have your attention in the first place. Dev Priya says, Satyam, you deserve so many flowers. I'll send you some too. That's nice. Nice little community we got here. PC Princess says, I think I may not be confident enough that it could be done, so I subconsciously don't let myself feel the joy and relief, but I know I would rather live completely in the new story. You'll live completely in that new story more so when you relax. One of the things that I've noticed from my own experience and from that of clients that I've pissing around my light, And from that of clients that I've like dealt with, that especially where in similar situations to yourself, is often it's that statement that I just said, which is one of the reasons why I really like it, of that insistence equals resistance, or insistence is resistance, because it's like manifestation is natural. We're doing it at all times. We can consciously manifest by directing our focus and thinking the thoughts of what we want, but it's still a natural process. So when it comes to consciously manifesting, there may be that element of like making it a bit unnatural. Like, it's not the most natural for us to sit there and say, I'm rich a million times a day. If I was rich and someone said, oh, like, yeah, you know, you wealthy, I could potentially say, yeah, I'm quite rich. So like the statement itself is natural. The way in which we go about it, maybe not so much, but that is where trying to relax comes in. That's where doing your techniques and just enjoying it and going with the flow is so important. Yes, you can affirm all day, but if you're affirming and then be like, where is it? Why is it not here? I've affirmed a million times a day. You're just putting that added pressure onto yourself. You're best off just doing it and then relaxing and letting it come. If it doesn't come tomorrow, that's chill. If it doesn't come the day after, that's chill, because you live in your life on the side of it as well. We want what we want. Oh, my light's breaking. We want what we want, but we need to ensure that we're not in need of what we want. Is that, if that makes sense? We, you know, we want it enough to persist in saying, oh yeah, it's done. Like, this is mine. I'm going to do my techniques. But then we're not in so much need that we need it to happen. And if it doesn't, then we're going to get all anxious. We're going to like start to panic and we're going to look for the results. You just got to do your techniques and then step back and chill. Think of all of like the LOA creators that you watch that you enjoy. None of them, obviously, you won't really see much about their personal life, but none of them really have an urgency to anything that they're doing. They do their videos. Some of them speak really slow. They just kind of talk and they're just telling you, you can do whatever. You can have whatever. Who are you to be denied your manifestation? And they have this like aura of just like relaxed and calm. They're not in a rush and it's relaxed, you know? That's how you should be with your manifestations. Carolina says, when you said in another live stream that live in the end in regards to action is expecting it and saving memes and looking for outfits, etc., it was such a small tweak but made everything click for me. Yeah, so that kind of expectancy, which is probably going to actually now go and sound like I'm contradicting PC Princess's thing of like try not to expect it. That kind of expectancy is preparation because you know it's done. That's more like faith expectancy or faith preparation, as opposed to like, I've done it, where is it kind of thing. But those kind of little tweaks are really good. I've done it for so many things. When it comes to money, I've added the amount of money that I get on my budget. When it comes to my video call days, because I do calls on Tuesdays and Fridays, I will put my camera, my webcam, because I have the webcam on top of my laptop because the laptop camera is awful. And I'll put it on there and say, even if I haven't got a call that day, I'm like, oh, because I've got a couple of calls today. And it's just that expectancy of if I had calls, i.e. having paying clients, I would have my camera there to do my calls. So therefore I put my camera there because I'm preparing for my calls. Things like that. They such little tweaks, but they really do make all the difference. Satyam says, thanks to DevPriya. PC Princess says, Christ, I try not to be one of the misspellers. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I think like, I think it's hard to type because you're trying to type while I'm talking. And then obviously you've got the chat going above you and stuff. So there's a lot going on. So I'm not surprised that there's sometimes some mistakes, but it's all good. I figured it out. Gonna cough again. Just quickly before I carry on. My baby cat. That one. That one's Ray Ray. That one's the one that I brought from my house when I moved in with Katie. Tanya says, what if you're attempting to manifest an X and some things / conversations you would have / want in the end result include the old story? Does visualizing hearing those conversations in your head affect? Did you say anything else after that? Affect? Oh, no. So what if you're attempting to manifest an X and some things / conversations you would have / want in the end result include the old story? Does visualizing hearing those conversations in your head affect? So if it's in your end result, even if you're talking about the old story, if it's in your end result, then it should still be fine because you're still thinking of yourself in the end result, right? I don't fully understand like the question, and I don't really, obviously I don't have an example to sort of go on, but if it's like you talking to a specific person about the day that you got together and it's like an old story thing and it's maybe something negative, but you make a joke out of it, then those kind of things are still fine because you're still having that conversation with your person as their person. So you're still implying that you're in this relationship with them. I'm not sure if I fully understand your question there. So if I haven't, then obviously let me know. But I think that's what you mean. But yeah, it should be fine. PC Princess says, damn, you're right. Thank you. Just wanted to say that quickly. Also, yeah, first live that I followed. Have a nice day. So it was like a couple of different things. Damn you right. Thank you. You're very welcome. Just wanted to say that quickly. Also, yeah, first live that I followed. Have a nice day. You have a nice day too. Thank you very much for showing up to the first live stream. Tanya then said, more like why the breakup happened. Why would you be discussing why the breakup happened in your end result? I'm assuming for some sort of closure or explanation, but is that really your end result? Is discussing the breakup and why it happened your end result, or is being in this loving, amazing relationship where everything is perfect is your end result? What would be more ideal? Kiati says, how to manifest being the best employee. I have this old assumption that I need to work day and night to be one of the best employees, and I want to change it. Start telling yourself something different. Start saying the amount of work that I choose to do is more than good enough, or I do not need to work day and night to be the best employee. I'm already the best employee with just the amount of work that I already do. It's what do you want? You want to work less, or you don't want to have to work day and night in order to be the best employee. So work the amount that you want to work and then claim that that's you being the best employee. I got really itchy nose. Jesus Genobi says, can you tell us how you manifest your partner while no contact, please? Actually, really funny that you should say that, because tomorrow's video is actually about no contact, and it involves me manifesting my person while in no contact. So no contact is, I'm not going to go into it extensively because that video goes into it a little bit more, and the video is very good, and I want you guys to watch it all the way through. But basically, from the second I walked out that door, I cut contact with Katie, and I basically said to myself that I am not messaging until she messages me first. If she wants to talk to me, considering she did the breakup, I have more sort of respect for myself that I'm not going to chase. I'm not going to give up on myself so fast to sort of start chasing her when she was the one that broke up with me. So as soon as we went no contact, I then started changing my sense of self. I started improving my self-worth. I started working on my sort of inner being, my inner self, my self-love, while simultaneously changing the version of like the relationship that I held in my mind. So instead of seeing it as hopefully she'll message me, I started seeing it as she'd be lucky if I responded. Instead of seeing it as we're in no contact because we've broken up, I started seeing it as we're in this relationship right now. And I just changed the perception that I had and used the no contact as a way to not have to deal with the 3D. Because when you're dealing with the 3D, I find it's personally harder to look past it and to manifest than if you didn't have it in your face all the time and then manifest from there. Theory says, manifesting my SP and my ex is doing everything I want from my SP. Can I consider this birds before land? Yes, absolutely. That is quite a common birds before land, and usually yields to the result. Usually yields to the response to the results you want. Oh my god, I can't. You guys can't type, and I can't talk. And then you also say, I used to be afraid of SP getting with other girls, but now I feel like I'll be okay even if I don't get my SP. Does this mean I'm giving up on my manifestation? Nope. That means that you are stepping into a sense of self-love and heightened self-concept. You are no longer in need of this person. You're choosing them, which is good, and you're no longer in need of them. The idea of them getting with someone else means that you'll still be fine, and that is a very good place to come from. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's giving up on your manifestation. I would say it's going to a normal headspace, to a headspace that people would go to when they're in a healthy relationship or when they have a healthy like love for someone. Tanya says, so basically talking about how we could stop it from reoccurring. Actually, good point. Past is past, future is ours. Yeah, so that's what I was kind of thinking, where it's like, yes, I get why you might want to sort of have that discussion where things, to stop things from happening again, but that would imply that they are going to happen again, and therefore you have to have that discussion, which is not what you want to happen. What you want to happen is get back together and then things be perfect from then on. That should be your focus more so than trying to stop things from going negative, because that implies that things are going to go negative. If you prepare for the worst, you'll get the worst. And then final comment, Roger Ramsey says, so you mean step back and don't call or text and just keep affirming self-concept and SP affirmations and ignore what she says? I would recommend it, yeah. If you're dealing with a negative version of the specific person that is making you feel not so great, I would advise that you kind of withdraw some of that energy. You don't have to go complete no contact if you don't want to, but I found my most success when I'm dealing with someone that is kind of acting a bit shit and I don't really want to deal with them. The best thing for me to do is just not talk to them for a bit and then be like, I'm going to change my assumptions of self and my assumptions of you, and then we're going to come together in the future and everything's going to improve. I had this before. I'll give you a little bit of a brief story. Sometimes I don't like talking about other females when I, obviously, because I don't want Katie to hear and get upset. But before I met Katie, there was a chick that I was quite interested in. It was not long after my first like proper breakup, so I wouldn't say the interest was anything more than me just being more like a desperate puppy. But I wasn't getting the response from her that I wanted, and I was really struggling because, oh, this looks ridiculous. I was really struggling because obviously not long out of a breakup, my sense of self-worth was quite low, so I kind of clung to this lady a bit more than I should have. She was also an older woman, so there was that weird like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Just weird. But she was kind of acting a bit funny, and I just decided to cut her off completely because it just was not good for me. I was already kind of damaged from the breakup. I was clearly not getting the results that I wanted because of my damage from the breakup. So I decided to go no contact with her because I was just like not interested. Well, it was more like I'd just given up as opposed to no contact. But I was still on occasion doing the odd affirmation here and there. Not dealing with her ghosting me and sort of rejecting me made it easier for me to stay in that end result. And she actually ended up chasing me. She ended up coming to a party at my mum's house, and because she was a friend of my mum's friend. Um, and then in the end, she was messaging her friend who was at the party as well, which I thought was really childish. I was like, just go talk to your friend, don't message your friend, saying, "Oh my god, I actually don't think he's even interested in me anymore." And she was there, kind of like chasing me. So that's the power of no contact. No contact can do wonders for us. There's quite a few comments. I'm going to answer these and then I'm going to head off, even if some more come in, because I do still have quite a lot of work bits to get done. Emma says, if you're manifesting commitment, do you recommend having relationship talk to define relationship in 3D? Don't need to, in my opinion. It'll kind of just happen. You obviously can if you want, but oh, sorry, Summer Rain. I'll get to that in a second. If you're you don't have to if you don't want to, but like it will happen as a result. Then the conversation will naturally come up. I don't recommend that you force that conversation, but the conversation will either naturally come up or you'll just find yourself in that situation. If it naturally comes up, then obviously you can talk about it. Jesus Denobi says, is it possible to manifest SP after a year? And why is it taking so long? I mean, for some of us, it works so fast, and for others, more than that during no contact. Are you staying true to the end result? Because if you're noticing how long it's been, and if you're wondering why it's not here yet, then you're also associating with it not being true. It works faster when you assume that it's done right now and stay true to that and align all thoughts to it. Katarina K says, hi, Matt. I don't know if you've managed to contact any of the other coaches for collabs yet, but I would be interested in understanding how the night tapes of Dylan James affects one's self-concept. I don't know if you mean in terms of me doing a collab where I talk to him about it, or whether you're just asking me to answer it. I have never actually watched anything of Dylan James. I didn't even know of Dylan James until like a couple of weeks ago when I did like a poll about something and then someone referenced Dylan James. And then I realized he's actually a huge channel. And I was like, how have I never heard of him? I've actually never watched any content, so I don't know how his if he does anything specific with the affirmations tapes. But often affirmation tapes, they just work because you're hearing something and it's being impressed into your mind, especially when you're asleep. It's really good because your conscious mind is shut, but your subconscious mind is always open, and it's always, hearing things. And it will just be impressed with this, like, I am this, I am that. I mean, I don't know what his tapes say, but I'm just assuming that I am's. And yeah, because your subconscious mind is picking up on something saying, I am this, I am that, and is hearing it as I am, then it'll be impressed with that. I actually have reached out to Dylan James on Instagram about doing a collaboration after a whole bunch of people said that they would love to see one. So far, he hasn't seen it. He's obviously got a lot of subscribers on Instagram, so I'm not expecting him to see it anytime soon. If you guys want me to do collaborations with people, it would probably be beneficial as well for you to like comment on their videos. Hey, you should do a collab with this person. It might make like kind of get the ball rolling a bit better as well. I need to actually just sort of do some scripts and stuff about it. I quite like for these little things to script more than anything. But at the moment, I've reached out to Dylan James. I'm just kind of waiting for a response. And I have all the other collab requests in my Discord community group, like video requests section. That's where I save like a lot of the ones that have been requested. And there is a whole lot. I will read out a few. That's the wrong Discord. Video requests. So we have collab with Elmer Locker Jr., collab with Kim Velez, collab with Free T Babe, collab with Manifesting Monster, collab with Manifest with Mary, collab with Manifesting with Climberly, collab with Manifesting with Roxy, Sammy Ingram, Missy Renee, Shelly, Naya, Nikki. So quite a few people. So I'll get around to asking all the different coaches when I can get around to it. But hopefully that answers the question that you asked. Answers the question you asked. Emma says, can you manifest becoming amazing at manifesting? Absolutely. You just start claiming to yourself that you already are. Summer Rain says, bit weird, older women, Matt. Thanks, Matt. So what I meant was I was looking to an older woman as more of that, like, take care of me kind of like thing, because I'd been just broken up with, and it was like my first proper breakup. I don't have a particularly good family thing. So when I saw an older woman, I kind of almost semi found comfort in the fact that she was like older. I was just like, well, you've got 2 children, so you know how to look after me. That's why I was saying it was weird. Not the fact that it was an older woman, just like the way that I kind of like attached myself to her was weird, That was when I was very bad mentally. That was when I was like borderline, like on the edge, not on the edge of a mental breakdown, not anything worse. But Yeah, so that's what I meant, not the fact that she was an older woman. I just didn't want to say it because it makes me sound so creepy when I say, "Oh yeah, mummy." uh, uh, Emma, I'm going to answer these, and I've really got to go. Emma says thoughts on setting boundaries in 3D when you're recreating an SP. I think that they are worthy. I think they are worth it. You can't let yourself go down the drain. You can't say, I'm not going to stand up for myself because I have more love for this person than myself. You need to be saying, I'm not going to be taking this behavior from you because I have so much love for myself. Theory says, thank you so much for your advice. Have a nice day. You too. Summer Rain put a bunch of crying with laughter faces. And Roger Ramsey says, thanks, bro. Great answer. You are very welcome. And then Katerina says, I've been following Dylan James since his channel had approximately the same amount of followers as yours. Way to go, Matt. And thanks for answer to my previous question. Yeah, hopefully I'll get there one day. I will continue to post content until I get to that point. And the collabs obviously will more than likely help my channel grow if I can do them with some bigger channels. But yeah, you know what I mean. We'll see. I'll see what I can do. But if you guys want collabs, it'll also benefit me if you go and let them know you should do a collab with this person. Just kind of gets that thing in their head. Summer Rain says, smooth, get out. Yeah, I do my best. And then Puan says, good evening, Angels, sir. Good evening to you too. Right, everyone, thank you very much for showing up to this live stream. I got through all the questions, thankfully, and I will catch you in the next one. Tomorrow's video, I think, is going to be very good. So I would recommend you watch it all the way through, despite the fact that it's going to be quite long. And I hope you have a good all rest of your day today. Bye-bye. And Summer Rain says, bye, Matt. Bye-bye.